The original Five Nights at Freddy's is such a geniusly made and designed game. Everything from the sound design to the camera angles and atmosphere, down to the tense and varied gameplay loop, and of course the hidden lore. So obviously, being the hit that it was, of course Scott wanted to make a sequel. 2 months after the first one. Yeah, Chef Coffin definitely needed more time to cook with this one. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a 2015 sit-and-survive horror game, and let me tell you, this game takes everything from the first one and basically makes it ass. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with good. The way this game expanded on the lore was really good. The 8-bit minigames depicting William Afton's murders, showing the missing children's incident we learned about in the first game, and the phone calls from Phone Guy, I would argue, were even better than the first game. As this game is a prequel, it shows the Phone Guy as a more corporate Freddy's fanboy that eventually starts to lose faith in the company. As throughout the calls, we learn about the twin animatronics acting up, and William Afton going for a second round of murders, eventually leading to the restaurant closing, but not before one last birthday party, where presumably the character we play as gets his frontal lobe bit off. But then we get into the actual game itself. Yeah, it's all downhill from here. Firstly, the atmosphere. Even though the toy animatronics are obviously less scary than the OGs, the game does have a decent atmosphere with good creepy camera angles like the first game. However, the office is a bit too bright and colorful for my liking, and the sound design is very repetitive. The variety of creepy ambient noises and sounds from the first game that could even help you when playing the game are gone, replaced with the annoying music box and siren noises. And of course, despite there being plenty of cool camera shots, you don't actually get to see any of them while playing because using the cameras is completely and utterly useless and actively hurts you while playing. Yeah, it's time to talk about the gameplay, or honestly, the lack thereof. Rather than the first game where checking the cameras were a pivotal part of how you play in order to stall Freddy and Foxy and know the location of the other animatronics so you don't need to waste power using the door lights, the cameras are useless in this game, and instead, you just need to stay on the prize corner camera and engage in one of the worst video game mechanics ever, the music box. Because if that music box winds down, if you waste even 1 second not winding the music box, then you're toast. The game loop has 3 elements. The mask is your primary way of fending off animatronics, which inherently is less fun and more brain dead than the doors from the first game, because there you need to think about which door to close and when to open them to conserve power. Here you just need to put the mask on whenever the camera is lowered and check your lights. If an animatronic is in the vents, then you put your mask on until you hear vent noises, but obviously you can't keep the mask on the whole time because you need to wind the stupid music box, or the puppet will jump scare you. You also need to use your flashlight to flash out Foxy. You do have limited battery power for the flashlight, but it's not a big factor. Rather, the factor of this game is dumb luck. Those are 2 big issues with this game. The fact that it's way too luck-based and way too repetitive allow me to describe a typical night of FNAF 2. You wind the music box, put the mask on, then check the lights. Rinse and repeat with very little variety. The variety is there, however it is really stupid. Obviously, when Foxy is there, you need to flash him out, so that takes precious time, as well as when an animatronic is in the fence, you need to put the mask on to scare them off. But while you're doing that, your music box is winding down. So then you gotta wind up the music box, but while you're winding up the music box, any animatronic can enter your office and force your camera down. When this happens, you need to put the mask on at superhuman speeds to avoid getting jump scared. One of the stupidest things about this game is your flashlight doesn't work if any animatronic is moving in or out of the hallway in front of you. So Foxy is in the hallway, but say Bonnie or something is in the process of moving from a camera to the hallway or a hallway to a camera, then you can't flash your light at Foxy for a few seconds. This can completely screw you over, as you'll need to wind the music box, and likely, when you're winding the music box, an animatronic will enter your office. After they leave, then you're screwed, because Foxy will need to be flashed out, or he'll just jump scare you. But then the music box will also need to be wound up too, and if you're really unlucky, then there'll be an animatronic waiting for you in the vent as well. As you can tell, this game is pretty infuriating. Call it a skill issue, but I would disagree. When you get jump scared in FNAF 1, you can always not only see it coming, but there's always something you could have done to avoid it. In FNAF 2, that's not the case. The amount of animatronics, as well as the repetitive mechanics that actively hinder each other, if you're winding up the music box, but one of the withered animatronics into your office, then you put the mask on. We also need to flash out Fox. And by that time, the music box will be fully out of juice. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do. And don't even get me started on toy bond. When they are in the vent, you need to put the mask on. But then they will enter your office and take 5 years to leave. Yeah, FNAF 2 is a very hard game, but not in a fun way. It really makes you feel like every time you lose, it was bullshit. Unlike the first game, where things would happen that at first take you by surprise, but in retrospect, you can see what you did wrong and learn from it. But in this game, even the mechanic that does require skill, putting the mask on as soon as the Wither animatronics enter your office, is still random when that does and doesn't happen. You can kind of see it coming if you check the vent cameras, but like I said, doing that wastes time that you could be using to wind the music box or flash out Foxy. Overall, FNAF 2 has good elements, but the pure gameplay on a fundamental level is just unfun. And that is the most important thing.